The diplomatic facade. Ambassador Elena Reyes smoothed her formal attire before entering the Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council for the 2000th time. She kept her count precise. This marked exactly 5 Earth years since humanity had been granted observational status in the Council. 5 years of smiling through insults. 5 years of having Earth's proposals dismissed without consideration. 5 years of watching other species mock humanity's comparatively primitive technological status while simultaneously blocking every attempt at fair trade agreements. The council chamber was a marvel of alien architecture, a vast dome of crystalline material that shifted colors with the emotional tenor of the room. Currently, it glowed a smug orange-yellow as the 47-member species prepared for another session. Humanity, as an observer, was relegated to a small platform on the periphery, physically representing their political position. "Ready for another thrilling day of being ignored, Ambassador?" asked Dr. Marcus Chen, Earth's lead xenobiologist and Elena's closest advisor. His smile was thin but genuine. "Protocol courtesy remains in effect, Marcus," Elena replied, using the official designation for Earth's diplomatic directive that mandated patience, restraint, and unfailing politeness regardless of provocation. "We'll get there." The Arxil-Tick representative, a gelatinous mass of blue-green tissue supported by an anti-gravity platform, oozed past their position. "Ah, the humans persist in attending. How quaint. Perhaps in another millennium, you might have something worthwhile to contribute." The universal translator couldn't quite capture the condescending tone, but the intention was clear enough. Elena smiled. "High Counselor, always a pleasure. We look forward to today's proceedings." Marcus whispered once the alien had moved on. "How do you maintain your composure? That's the same species that called our mathematical systems adorably primitive last month." "Protocol courtesy, Marcus. Protocol courtesy." The session began with the usual rituals. The Develi chair, a tall, multi-limbed being with opalescent skin, called the gathering to order. Various species presented reports on galactic affairs, discussed trade disputes, and proposed new initiatives. Earth's delegation listened attentively, taking notes, occasionally raising the small blue signal that requested recognition to speak. They were never acknowledged. 3 hours into the session, the Juraxian delegation took the central platform. The reptilian species had been among the most openly hostile toward humanity's inclusion, even as observers. "Esteemed Council," the Juraxian representative began, his scaled neck flaring with importance. "The Juraxian Imperium wishes to formalize our development plans for the resource-rich satellites orbiting the gas giant in Earth's solar system, what humans call Jupiter. These moons represent a significant untapped resource, and the primitive inhabitants of the third planet have made no meaningful claim beyond rudimentary observation posts." Elena straightened in her seat. This was new and dangerous. Jupiter's moons had been the focus of human colonization efforts for the past decade. Europa already hosted 3 research bases beneath its icy surface, while Ganymede had become a critical mining outpost. She raised the blue recognition flag higher. As usual, it was ignored. "The Juraxian Imperium proposes immediate approval for our development fleet to establish operations on the 4 largest moons. We have prepared environmental impact studies and resource extraction projections for Council review." Elena stood up, abandoning protocol by speaking without recognition. "Point of information, Chair Develi. The Juraxian proposal directly violates the sovereign territory of Earth. Jupiter and its moons fall within Sol system boundaries, which are recognized as Earth's domain under Section 47 of the Galactic Charter." The chamber fell silent at this breach of protocol. Chair Develi's skin flickered with annoyance. "The observer will resume her seat. You have not been recognized to speak." "With respect, Chair," Elena continued, her voice steady despite the breach in protocol. "This matter directly concerns Earth's territorial integrity. We have established settlements on 3 of Jupiter's moons. This proposal constitutes a direct infringement of Earth's sovereign space." The Juraxian representative hissed. The human exaggerates. Their presence amounts to nothing more than primitive outposts. They can barely reach these moons, let alone develop them properly. The chair reminds the Earth delegation that observational status does not confer speaking rights without recognition, Develli stated coldly. Furthermore, claims of development require substantial evidence of capability and presence. The Juraxian studies indicate minimal human activity in the outer system. Elena felt her diplomatic smile falter for the first time in 5 years. Chair Develli, I formally request immediate evidentiary proceedings under Section 12 of the Charter. Earth can demonstrate substantial presence and development. Laughter rippled through the chamber, actual laughter, despite the translation devices that normally flattened emotional content. Request denied. Develli responded without hesitation. The Council will now vote on preliminary approval for the Juraxian Development Initiative. Elena held her ground. Chair Develli, I must inform the Council that Earth considers this a direct violation of our sovereignty. Any unauthorized presence in the Jupiter system will be considered hostile action. This prompted more laughter, particularly from the Juraxian delegation. The observers' comments will be noted, Develli said dismissively. We will now proceed to the vote. Elena returned to her seat, her face a mask of diplomatic calm that betrayed none of the fury building inside her. They're not even pretending to follow charter procedures anymore, Marcus whispered. This is beyond diplomatic insult. This is sanctioned invasion. Contact Earth, Elena murmured. Priority Alpha. Tell them protocol courtesy has reached its limit. The vote proceeded exactly as expected. 39 species voted to approve the Juraxian initiative, with only 5 abstentions and 3 oppositions from a handful of species that had shown some fairness toward humanity. As the session adjourned, Elena remained seated, tapping instructions into her communication device. The Juraxian representative approached, looming over the human delegation. Do not concern yourself, Ambassador. We will allow your primitive research stations to remain as quaint cultural artifacts. Perhaps we might even establish a museum of early space exploration. His scaled lips pulled back in what passed for a smile among his kind. Elena looked up, meeting his gaze directly. High Commander Zextral, you should know that my government has just authorized the suspension of protocol courtesy. Code designation. Enough is enough. Is that supposed to mean something to me, human? The Juraxian asked, his translator conveying amusement. It will tomorrow, Elena replied simply. Back at the Earth Embassy, a modest structure compared to the grand compounds of full council members, Elena gathered her team in the secure conference room. Protocol courtesy has been suspended by direct order of the United Earth Government, she announced to her staff of 12. Effective immediately, we are authorized to demonstrate humanity's actual capabilities and position. Commander Sarah Jackson, Earth's military attaché, who had been largely ceremonial until now, stepped forward. The Jupiter Defense Fleet has been activated. Ambassador, all Juraxian vessels entering the system will be intercepted. What about the diplomatic fallout? Asked Marcus. Elena's expression hardened. We've spent 5 years following every diplomatic rule while being systematically undermined, insulted, and now nearly invaded. The Council believes we're a primitive species barely capable of reaching our own moon. It's time they learned how much we've been concealing in the interest of peaceful integration. She turned to her communications officer. Dr. Rivera, prepare the full technological disclosure package. Tomorrow, we show the Council exactly what humanity has been doing for the past 50 years, while they thought we were still playing with chemical rockets. The stealth satellites. Rivera asked. Everything, Elena confirmed. The quantum communication network, the gravitational manipulation engines, the automated defense platforms throughout the solar system, the Mars and Venus terraforming projects. All of it. And Jupiter? Commander Jackson asked. Elena's smile finally returned, but it was nothing like her diplomatic mask. Especially Jupiter. I want crystal-clear feeds from all 7 cities on Europa, the Ganymede Industrial Complex, and the Callisto Defense Headquarters. And make sure the fleet is visible. All 47 ships. The Council is going to have quite a shock, Marcus observed. That's the idea, Alina replied. For 5 years, we've been the polite, primitive newcomers, grateful just to observe their grand civilization. Tomorrow, they'd meet the real humanity. As her team dispersed to their tasks, Alina stood alone by the window overlooking the vast Galactic Council complex. In various chambers, alien representatives were likely celebrating their victory over the naive humans or placing bets on how quickly Earth would surrender Jupiter's moons to Juraxian control. They had no idea what was coming. Humanity had never been weak, just patient, and that patience had just run out. When humanity shows its teeth, the council chamber was unusually crowded the following day. Word had spread about the Juraxian victory and the human reaction, or lack thereof. Many species had come to witness what they expected would be Earth's formal capitulation. Alina entered the chamber flanked not just by Dr. Chen and her usual diplomatic staff, but by Commander Jackson in full military dress and a team of 6 other uniformed officers. This deviation from the standard diplomatic contingent caused a stir among the assembled representatives. Chair Develli called the session to order. Before we proceed with scheduled matters, the chair recognizes the Juraxian delegation for an update on their Jupiter development initiative. High Commander Zextral took the central platform, his scaled neck flared with pride. Esteemed Council, the Juraxian advance fleet entered the human solar system 6 hours ago. They report no resistance and expect to reach the Jupiter system within 14 standard hours. Initial surveys will begin immediately, with resource extraction scheduled to commence within. Point of order. Alina interrupted, again speaking without recognition. Develli's skin flickered with irritation. Observer, you continue to violate protocol. Resume your seat or your delegation will be removed. Alina ignored the warning and walked directly to the central platform. Commander Jackson followed, carrying a small device. The Council security, a species of massive 4-armed beings, moved to intercept them, but Alina reached the platform first. The Earth delegation has critical security information relevant to all Council species, she announced, her voice carrying throughout the chamber without amplification. Under Emergency Provision 37B of the Charter, we invoke the right to present this information without delay. Develli's skin shifted to a dark purple, a sign of extreme agitation. There is no emergency, That. There is a Juraxian fleet currently disabled and adrift in the outer Sol system, Alina stated flatly. This constitutes an emergency situation requiring immediate Council attention. A murmur spread through the chamber. Zextral hissed, "This is absurd. Our fleet is state-of-the-art. No primitive human defenses could possibly." Commander Jackson activated the device she carried. Instantly, the chamber's central holographic display ignited with a real-time feed showing 7 Juraxian warships floating motionless in space, their distinctive propulsion systems dark. Small craft, clearly of human design, circled the vessels. Approximately 3 hours ago, Alina continued calmly, your advance fleet entered a restricted military zone within Sol system boundaries. After ignoring 3 warnings to change course, they were disabled by the Jupiter Defense Force. Impossible, Zextral sputtered. These images are fabrications. Humans lack the technology to. Chair Develli, Alina said, cutting him off. Earth formally requests emergency communication access to verify these events. Before Develli could respond, Commander Jackson activated another control. The holographic display split, showing the face of a human officer aboard what was clearly a military vessel. Admiral Chen of the Jupiter Defense Force. The officer introduced himself. We currently have 7 Juraxian warships in custody after they violated Sol system sovereignty. Their systems have been temporarily disabled using our gravitational disruption technology. No casualties reported on either side. We await diplomatic instructions. The chamber erupted in chaos. Develi's skin cycled through a rainbow of colors as the chair struggled to process this information. The Juraxian delegation was loudly protesting, while other species were either demanding explanations or conferring urgently with their governments. Elena remained calm at the center of the storm. "Thank you, Admiral. Maintain position and continue non-harmful containment procedures. The Council and I are discussing the situation." As the communication ended, Elena turned to address the full Council. "For 5 years, Earth has participated in this Council under observational status. For 5 years, we have endured systematic dismissal, mockery, and discrimination. We followed every protocol, obeyed every rule, and demonstrated unfailing courtesy in the hopes of peaceful integration into the galactic community." She activated her own device, and the chamber's displays filled with images that shocked the assembled representatives into silence. Vast underground cities on Europa, massive industrial complexes on Ganymede, a fleet of sleek warships orbiting Callisto, terraforming engines operating on Mars and Venus, and quantum communication arrays throughout the Sol system. While you believed we were a primitive species barely capable of reaching our own moon, humanity has been expanding throughout our entire system. We have 7 fully established colonies with a combined population of over 3 million citizens beyond Earth. Our technological development has proceeded along different paths than most Council species, but it is no less advanced. The silence in the chamber was profound. Elena continued, her voice steady. "Earth has maintained a policy of technological discretion, what we called protocol courtesy, to avoid appearing threatening to the galactic community. We wanted peaceful integration, not fearful reaction. Yesterday, this Council violated our sovereignty and authorized an invasion of our territory. Protocol courtesy has therefore been suspended." One of the more reasonable Council members, an insectoid being named Tizala, moved forward. "Ambassador Reyes, if what you show us is true, why conceal these capabilities for so long? Why endure the treatment you received?" "Because humanity's history has taught us caution," Elena replied. "We've seen what happens when technologically disparate cultures meet too abruptly. We chose to integrate slowly, to learn the rules of galactic society before revealing our full presence. We wanted to be friends, not threats." "And now?" Chair Develi asked, their voice notably more respectful. "Now we request immediate recognition as a full Council member, with all sovereign rights to the Sol system explicitly acknowledged. We request the immediate cancellation of the Juraxian initiative and formal apologies for the territorial violation. And we request a review of all previous Earth proposals that were dismissed without proper consideration." The chamber remained silent as the implications sank in. Elena wasn't making requests. She was stating terms. "And if these requests are not granted," Zex Troll hissed, though his usual arrogance had diminished considerably. Commander Jackson stepped forward. "Then Earth will be forced to demonstrate more of its capabilities, High Commander. The gravitational disruption technology that disabled your ships is among our more moderate defensive systems. Are you threatening the Council, human?" Develi demanded, though with notably less conviction than before. "Not at all, Chair Develi," Elena replied smoothly. "We are simply being transparent about our position, now that protocol courtesy has been suspended. Humanity wishes to join the galactic community as equals, not as subjects or curiosities. We bring much to offer in trade, science, and cultural exchange, but only on terms of mutual respect." An emergency recess was called as the various delegations conferred with their governments. Elena and her team waited in a side chamber, monitoring the chaos they had unleashed. "Do you think they'll agree to our terms?" Marcus asked. "They don't have much choice," Commander Jackson responded. "The Juraxian fleet is their most advanced military force, and we disabled it without firing a shot or causing casualties. That's the kind of power demonstration that gets attention." Elena nodded. "It was never about the technology, though. It was about respect. We could have revealed our capabilities gradually if they'd treated us as equals from the beginning." When the Council reconvened 3 hours later, The atmosphere had changed dramatically. Chair Develli, whose skin now pulsed with a respectful blue hue, called the session to order. After consultation with all member governments, the Council has reached a decision regarding Earth's status. Develli announced, "The evidence presented demonstrates that humanity has indeed achieved the development level required for full Council membership. The Jaraxian Initiative is hereby cancelled, and the Sol system is recognized as sovereign Earth territory." Murmurs of agreement, some reluctant, others relieved, rippled through the chamber. Furthermore, Develli continued, "A special committee will be formed to review all previous Earth proposals and trade agreements that were dismissed." The Council, the chair paused, then continued with what seemed like genuine contrition. "The Council acknowledges that errors in judgment were made regarding humanity's status and capabilities." Elena stood. "Earth accepts these terms and looks forward to productive cooperation with all Council species. As a gesture of goodwill, the Jaraxian vessels will be reactivated and escorted to the Sol system boundary once this session concludes." Zextrol, notably humbled, inclined his head slightly. The Jaraxian Imperium acknowledges Sol system's sovereignty and regrets the misunderstanding. As the session proceeded with Earth now seated among full members, Marcus leaned toward Elena. "Protocol courtesy served its purpose, it seems. We learned who our real allies were, who can't be trusted, and exactly how the political system works, all while they underestimated us completely." Elena nodded. "Humanity has always been good at playing the long game, Doctor. 5 years of smiling through insults was worth it for this moment." She looked around at the Council chamber, where representatives now regarded the human delegation with new eyes. Some fearful, some curious, some calculating, but all respectful. "And now," she said quietly, "the real work begins." Throughout the chamber, the crystalline dome had shifted to a deep, thoughtful blue, reflecting the dawning realization among all Council species that the galaxy had fundamentally changed. Humanity had arrived, not with conquering fleets or aggressive demands, but with patience and restraint that had suddenly revealed itself as tremendous strength. The polite, primitive newcomers had been nothing of the sort, and no species would make the mistake of underestimating humanity again.